Many of you are wondering, I can tell by the comments below, you say, why haven't there been any arrests? Well, you have to have actual prosecutors that are interested in justice and going after this stuff. Mere knowledge of events are not enough to get people like Hillary and Barack Obama. The arrests are coming, though, now, because now they've got the actual evidence and they have actual prosecutors that are interested in doing their job. Remember, the prosecutors were interested in doing their job at going after Trump and arresting him. So they did arrest, even though there was no evidence. You actually don't even need evidence to make the accusation. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. Part of it is that finally this week, with Tulsi Gabbard's massive release of all those documents, finally went and looked and revealed what the state has been doing. So I'll explain to you why they can't hide behind the statute of limitations. By the end of this video, here's Kamala Harris in her ongoing, this is her perjuring herself on the Russia collusion claims in using third grade illiterate reading level communication skills. Kamala Harris.
Let's back up and realize what happened. A historic adversary, Russia, trying to figure out, how can I take away some of the strength of that place called the United States of America?
She was almost president.
Well, one of the strengths that they've got, and it's intangible almost, you can't really touch it, but it's strong. When they walk in the room, it's their strength, is that they are a democracy. Imperfect though we may be, right? Flawed though we may be, it's part of our strength. How can we nip at that? Well, one of the greatest pillars of a democracy, especially ours, free and open elections. We are very proud of the fact we've not had any revolutions in recent history. It is through a peaceful transition of power through elections, our election system.
She's a history professor, Kamala Harris, history professor, laying it down. I don't even know what she's getting at here. I don't think anyone does. I love the Des Moines Register here, having to lean in, arms folded, pretend like they're interested, going, yeah, lay down that truth on us, Kamala. Imperfect
and flawed though it may be. So they decide to go with that. Well, let's get the American people going at each other to create division and a lack of confidence in this process. And they test out a bunch of subjects. And interestingly enough, the subject that gained the most amount of heat was race. And they had people going at each other.
Wait, who had people going at each other for race? She's blaming Russia. The Democrat Party went after people for race. Look how pleased she is with herself. Look at this genius.
This is all in the, you read the reports and you will see that this is what happened. So, but the fact is Russia interfered.
Okay, my head is caving in just listening to this. We're going to move on to the good stuff here. This is a little better for you guys. Here's Jeff Carlson. This is Horowitz's January 2017 investigation was launched just as the FBI director Comey's attack on Trump really took off, and right when the Steele dossier was made public. So this is in 2017 under Trump with his new administration. Little did he know, he didn't start firing FBI people until this last administration. This is Trump's first administration, which was corrupt, not by his knowledge, but because he had people, normal, even Republican rhinos, working from within his own administration, working against him. And that's why him going with that, he learned the second go around with his presidency, he goes, I'm not ever doing that again. From, now I don't care what people think. Now I'm going to get the people that I want. And you can see how effective his administration is over the last 6 months compared to the first go around when he was fighting even his own Republican Party. Horowitz's investigation into the FBI effectively tied up any outside investigations into the FBI for almost 3 full years during the Trump administration. No accountability was had. It was a whitewash. So they had their own inside guy, Horowitz, running an investigation into the FBI that he never intended to find anything. This is similar to what they did with investigating Hunter Biden's bad taxes and his gun allegations. They put their inside guy on it, And then Merrick Garland would just say, look, we have our guy on it, and I'm not going to comment on an ongoing investigation. And all they're really trying to do is run out the clock on the statute of limitations so you can't go after them. Fine. That's fair rule. This is why they're not going to get away with this, though. But this is just the initial cover-up. Many of you in the comments are going, where's the arrests? No one will ever go to jail. No one ever will ever go to jail. Currently, there's been no arrests because there's never been a prosecutor after them yet. The most we ever had was Durham, and he was playing by the rules, and Matt Gaetz called him out as going, you didn't do your job well enough. You're not even looking that hard. So we've never had, you're going, there'll never be no arrest. No. Things are different this time. This is an actual investigation by actual prosecutors, and that's why they're calling names. And that's why this news cycle is ramping up now. This is the real deal. You have not been given the real deal before. We know that they should be in jail, but there's never been evidence even released to the public like this yet. Now we know that Horowitz failed to disclose all the information that DNI Tulsi Gabbard is now releasing. Horowitz's report was delayed, in quotes, multiple times and wasn't released until December of 2019. Which is pretty much, by then, Trump only has 1 year left. Horowitz's ridiculous finding that the Trump-Russia collusion investigation was properly predicated is another stark warning sign. I could go on forever about Horowitz's report, ignoring the Steele dossier's fictional source, Igor Danchenko, Strzok's lies to the DOJ, the wiping of the FBI cell phones, stating that Comey's actions were not politically motivated, an article unto itself. Horowitz investigated FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe and focused on, wait for it, media leaks. Horowitz ignored, some might say hid, that McCabe opened an illegal investigation into Trump in May of 2017, along with everything else McCabe was already doing, including a sudden re-engagement with the Steele dossier. Let me move on. But so just so you guys know, just so you can see, that was a whitewashing. They pretended to have an investigation, but their only job was to prevent information from being prosecuted. Here's Molly Hemingway. The recent revelations about the origins of the Russia collusion hoax against the American people are the biggest story in America right now. It's the biggest scandal in our history. And yet look at how most of the media outlets are hiding the news, ignoring and downplaying, because that's their job. They're acting like a Democratic wing, even though they're the media. They're not doing their job. Just like when they fired Steve Colbert, they're going to let him keep his job for another year. They're all circling the wagons around that same narrative. Now, here's Mike Davis on the statute of limitations. And because this is an ongoing investigation, it did not end over 5 years ago. That's how long they have, is 5 years. I'll show you video of Brennan perjuring himself back in 2023. Here's Mike Davis.
Yeah, remember this, back in 2016, you had President Obama and then Vice President Joe Biden and Clapper and Comey and Brennan and so many other goons make up the Russian collusion hoax. They worked with the Hillary's campaign, the DNC, the Steele dossier. You had Perkins Coie law firm. You made up the Steele dossier. You made up the Russian collusion hoax. You said you were lying. You said that the Trump and his campaign were colluding with the Russians to steal the 2016 election. You fed this to the FISA court as bogus evidence. So you lied to the FISA court. You got an illegal spy warrant from this federal court. You spied on then presidential candidate Donald Trump. You continued to spy on Donald Trump when he was the president of the United States.
I'm going to skip ahead a bit.
Including Senate Republicans saying that Trump is a Russian asset because of this Russian collusion hoax. They destroyed his many parts of his first term. Now, it was still wildly successful because Trump is such a strong leader. But look what we're seeing now compared to his first term. And look at how much he's accomplishing now compared to his first term. That's what they were trying to prevent in his first term. His monumental accomplishments over the last 6 months, they tried to hobble the first time. And you talk about the statute of limitations, Ben. Generally, the statute of limitations for federal felonies is 5 years. So you say, oh, this was 2016, we're well beyond the statute of limitations. guess what? You're not, because this is an ongoing criminal conspiracy. When you conspire, in order for the conspiracy to stop, you have to disavow the conspiracy. The ends of the conspiracy have to end. They haven't. They are covering up the conspiracy. They are perjuring themselves. We saw perjury by high-ranking Obama officials during this ongoing criminal conspiracy. I think it was in 2022. So,
okay, we're going to go look at that 2022 because that will make it recent, right? Let's look at this one. This is Brennan as early as within the last 5 years perjuring himself before Trey Gowdy here. That's Kash Patel in the background there on the left. Watch this. This shows that the conspiracy is ongoing. It never got disavowed or stopped and has happened within the last 5 years, making it prosecutable.
Did the CIA rely on it?
No.
Why not?
Did the CIA rely on the Steele dossier? Now he's going to claim that they did not. And now we have all these documents releasing that Brennan, this guy, is the guy that made them all, under Barack Obama's orders, follow the Steele dossier.
Because we didn't. It wasn't part of the corpus of intelligence information that we had. It was not in any way used as a basis for the intelligence community assessment that was done. It was not.
Look at Trey Gowdy, doesn't even know what to ask. Kash Patel's down there making notes right now. That's perjury. He said they didn't use it, and they did. And that's what prevents this from happening 7 years ago or beyond 5 years ago and passing the statute of limitations. Do they get Brennan? I think they do. You might see some jail time now because this has never happened before. I'm Doug in Exile. Subscribe.